But right now, we wanted to talk about Space Jam.
Yeah,
Space Jam came out, and we need to be in the algorithm. Damn it!
And I'll probably just upload this section as its own video.
Yeah.
As well, because Space Jam 2 is very bad.
Okay. Should we start with our thoughts on Space Jam 1 first?
Yeah, I mean, we could go.
Okay, so Space Jam 1.
We watched the first one and the second one.
Space Jam 1, a very dumb but fun movie about Michael Jordan teaming up with Bugs Bunny to beat a bunch of aliens in a game of basketball.
There's a lot, like, it is dumb.
It's extremely
but
dumb.
There's a lot to
but it's dumb in a good. It's dumb in a good way, where it knows it's dumb and makes fun of itself.
The game is engaging. The monsters, the Monstars,
are really funny.
Way better than they should be.
They have, like, despite being a bunch of just big dumb brutes, they have tons of personality.
Bug guys I love that they steal the talent from the NBA players, and there's a whole subplot about the NBA players being sad because they lost their talent.
Like everything, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 scenes with them that were just hilarious.
I feel like Space Jam 2 tries to have subplots like that, and they're so goddamn uninteresting.
It's because they don't have fun with them.
No.
They're like, oh no, we need to be
Bill Murray's in this movie as Bill Murray, and there's a whole gag of him wanting to join the NBA because all the NBA players are losing their talent. It's so weird and random and funny.
And then they have Wayne
Knight as this doofus, like,
flat Newman image.
Yeah, but he ends up. But all of these characters, like Wayne Knight and Bill Murray's characters, end up helping in the game.
Yeah.
The game is very engaging, and I like that the villain is not some like Warner Brothers thing. It's just some alien cartoon character that attacks the Looney Tunes.
Because he wants a profit, baby.
And he goes
the customer's always right.
And he goes for the Looney Tunes, and then the Looney Tunes challenge the villain to basketball because
it actually makes sense.
Little bug guys. Everything makes sense. It's like silly, but it all makes sense in the cartoon logic of Looney Tunes movie. It still feels like a Looney Tunes movie.
It feels like
something I can't say about Space Jam: A New Legacy.
It's interesting that you mentioned that the villain isn't just some weird like Warner Brothers stand-in whose main goal is to like use LeBron James to power the serververse.
The serververse. Space Jam: A New Legacy, aka the Warner Brothers serververse movie.
Into the serververse. Oh my god. Okay, if we're making a big deal about the serververse, that's because they say it all the time.
So what?
That's literally the plot of the movie.
Let's just explain what this is. So in the first Space Jam, the Toons all live in this Toon world that's kind of like deep into the earth.
Right.
And that's where they live. That's what's going on, and they're in the cartoons in this realm. In Space Jam 2, the Looney Tunes live on a planet that's inside of this Ready Player One-esque hellscape virtual world, known as the. I can't believe this is the name they went with. Warner Bros. Serververse.
I feel like they call it the serververse more than they refer to it as being owned by Warner Bros.
Yeah. And the villain is Don Cheadle playing a character called Algae Rhythm.
We bring this up because it's like, it's so weird that LeBron James is in this movie, and they refer to him as LeBron James, but then they don't acknowledge that Don Cheadle is just Don Cheadle.
They casted somebody too famous to play their like AI character.
Right.
Like in the original movie, It'd be like if Bill Murray played the villain of that movie.
And it's like he shows up as Bill Murray and acts like Bill Murray.
Or no, the person who actually played the villain of Space Jam 1 was Danny DeVito, but it was a voice performance.
It'd be like if Danny DeVito was the villain.
Actually Danny DeVito.
And it'd be like, is no one gonna... Okay, they're acknowledging that Bill Murray's there, so is no one gonna acknowledge that Danny DeVito is also here? And an alien?
Yeah. Also, the original movie has such a... I mean, it's not Roger Rabbit levels, but it's a good mixing of animation, live... This movie barely even mixes the two.
It mixes live action and 3D CG.
Yeah, when they actually start mixing the stuff, which is funny because the villain turns all the Looney Tunes into 3D animated characters right before the big game, and it's treated as this bad thing.
The villain's plan is just the plot of the movie Space Jam 2.
The villain's plan is Warner Brothers' marketing plan for this movie.
Yes.
He is literally the AI that runs the Warner Brothers serververse, and his plan is just to make himself and his Warner Brothers corporation all powerful. And this place just there's a Game of Thrones planet and a Harry Potter planet.
They go to the Game of Thrones planet like 3 times.
But they never really go to it because it's an R-rated property, and they have like, all the references are references people who have never seen the show will get. I know because I got all of them.
The dragons, the zombie things.
That's why it's the White Walkers in the background of the game and not any actual characters.
No. Because it's like, oh my god.
This movie is actually a giant ad/money laundering scheme.
It's a commercial.
It's absurd.
It's a commercial. It's one of the commercial movies, which I'm so upset that we have a genre for that type of movie now.
But this has to be one of the worst commercial movies ever.
It's a bad commercial.
It's not a Looney Tunes movie.
It's a bad commercial. It's a commercial that fails to sell you on the product they're trying to sell you.
So, you know how in the original movie, the Looney Tunes versus these aliens was the story, and then they roped in the basketball naturally, they roped in Michael Jordan naturally?
Right.
In this movie...
The guy wants LeBron.
LeBron is the protagonist.
For some reason.
The villain wants LeBron for a reason completely unconnected to Looney Tunes. The only reason the Looney Tunes are even involved in this
is because they get sent to us Looney Tunes.
Is that when LeBron gets absorbed into the serververse, Don Cheadle sends him to Toon World where nobody is anymore because, he won't bother me anymore there. Or something. Even though he just challenged him to a basketball game. So why the hell did he send him to Toon World? I don't... Why a basketball game? Nobody...
No!
Because...
Why challenge him to a game that he has skill in?
Yeah, why not...
Why not challenge him to a baseball game?
Why Looney Tunes? Answer Space Jam.
Because this is a Space Jam sequel, so it has to happen.
Yeah. It's just this weird self-fulfilling thing. There's a montage midway through the movie where after LeBron gets sent to Toon World, Bugs is the only one there. By the way, as soon as Bugs shows up, they, within a minute, do the Big Chungus joke.
Like, they don't even wait.
Like, they had...
As soon as they can do the Big Chungus joke, they do the Big Chungus joke.
This movie thinks that this movie thinks that people only know the Looney Tunes because of the Big Chungus. I swear to God. Chungus. Because the whole plot of it is all the other Looney Tunes left Toon World and
they're no longer relevant.
And Bugs wants LeBron to help him go find them.
And they're all in like other places that are quote unquote like more hip and relevant.
Which
like Casablanca.
Well, okay, the idea of the Looney Tunes characters inserting themselves into other Warner Brothers properties, if that was a whole movie,
that would be really fun.
If that was a whole movie, it would be both a better commercial and a better movie than Space Jam 2 is, but instead we get a montage of references in the second act.
And they're not jokes, they're references.
They're just if you've seen the clips on Twitter,
they're better on Twitter than they are in the movie.
If you've seen the clips on Twitter that look like they've been edited together by the Nostalgia Critic, that is actually the movie. Those are unedited.
I like how it's the nostalgic. It's like Family Guy cutaway sketches.
They're not even
Nostalgia Critic cutaway sketches.
Nostalgia Critic cutaway.
And then, like on the same level, Space Jam 2.
We get Yosemite Sam hanging out in We get Elmer Fudd in Austin Powers, Yosemite Sam in Casablanca.
Yeah, wait, no, I want to take
and then a Rick and Morty reference back to
Taz.
back.
And I want to point something out.
Taz was there.
You know, the Looney Tunes, they're all washed up. No one knows them except for the memes. Unlike Austin Powers
or Casablanca,
a movie that has a movie franchise that hasn't had a new entry since 2004.
Referencing Casablanca and Rick and Morty in the same minute is the biggest cultural whiplash of all time.
One is classic movie, like capital C cinema, and the other is Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah, and so they get Daffy from like Superman.
The only good joke.
This is the only good one. Daffy's masquerading as Superman
because he wants to get into the Justice League.
Yeah.
So he's like causing accidents to get credit for them.
Yeah, and him making Porky help him. That's actually something the Looney Tunes characters would do.
Like that would be a great joke.
This is the only time that they do this. All the others
Also,
are
it's the
half-assed.
only. Well, it's also like that's the only time they use any new footage because everything else
they use footage from other movies and insert the Looney Tunes in them. First,
it's legitimately on the level of like a it's like a YouTube poop. It's like someone just took a pre-existing scene and then drew the Looney Tunes characters.
They get Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote from Mad Max Fury Road, and Wile E. Coyote holds up a sign saying "Witness me."
I hate that this movie made Doug Walker right! This movie made Doug Walker right!
And the middle of the movie with the reference stuff is like stupid, but it's at least like social media memeable.
But like,
and
that's not even half of the second act. That's like
that's
10 minutes
max.
Like
it's just 10 minutes of references.
Then we get like a 5-minute scene of Lola Bunny becoming an
They
Amazon.
get Lola Bunny from the Wonder Woman world. Which
so Lola Bunny went from being a 90s girl boss to a 2010s girl boss.
Zero character change in any way.
No
She's
character
exactly
development.
the same level of quality.
It's just she went from being like, hey boys, I can be sexy and a badass, to being like, hey boys, I'm a badass and I don't even need to be sexy about it. I'm still sexy.
Yeah, that's the characterization.
It's so.
Oh, also the only reason LeBron is doing any of this is because there's this ham-fisted very 90s movie plot about LeBron's son wanting to design video games and LeBron being like, you should play basketball. And then Don Cheadle steals the son and is like, what if you designed my shitty Overwatch knockoff of the Monstars?
The Goon Squad.
The Goon Squad.
The Goons.
They're just Overwatch characters. They're
bad. This movie would have been better if they actually were Overwatch.
That would have been funnier. That would have been much funnier. Like imagine Tracer and Reaper just running around the basket. That would have been fucking stupid.
Well, because LeBron had a joke earlier where he's like, "Okay, I'm assembling my dream team. Great. Okay, I want King Kong because he's got because he's got reach. I need a Trinity because she's got the mad hops. I need
Superman.
I need Superman."
And that's when Bugs swoops in and is like, actually, we're going to get the Looney Tunes instead because I miss my friends.
And it's like, why? Why? No, but actually, why though? He has access to anyone in the serververse. Take a drink. Why on earth would he settle for the Looney Tunes?
About halfway through the movie, we just started drinking every time they said the word serververse.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then they throw in a subplot of like the rest of LeBron's family trying to figure out where he disappeared to in the Warner Brothers lot, and it's just like, who the fuck cares?
It's the Wayne Knight subplot, but not funny.
This movie's over 100 minutes long. It doesn't need to be. This is the perfect opportunity to talk about this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Why is every movie 2 hours long now? I don't have a problem with 2-hour-long movies. I don't have a problem with 3-hour-long movies. But justify your movie length.
Yeah.
The new standard for movies is becoming about an hour and 45. It used to be an hour and a half, and somewhere it's like shifted.
And it kept getting longer and longer and longer, and now it's like we're approaching the standard being 2 hours.
Yeah.
For some goddamn reason, even though most of these
movies, especially ones about cartoon characters, generally don't need to be 2 hours.
No kids movie should be more than an hour and 45.
Yeah.
That is too much time. Hell, that's too much time to animate.
Yeah.
Like, let alone tell a compelling story.
Oh yeah, Foghorn Leghorn, they had to get him from Game of Thrones, and he says winter is coming while wearing a Daenerys wig, and that's the extent of that reference.
Yes, a very topical reference in 2021.
Very cool.
It's not like Game of Thrones has had a massive downfall in popularity in the recent years.
Yeah, I
think the Game of Thrones reference is funniest to me, not only because it's so out of place for this otherwise family-friendly movie, but because it's like completely tone deaf to how unpopular Game of Thrones has become.
Yeah. Yeah, because the script was written before the show stopped.
Yeah, no, this script was pitched in the 90s, written in the 2000s, then they refilmed it in the 2010s when they're like, okay, we need to update some references and get footage of LeBron because Michael's out now. LeBron's the new hot shit. And then for some reason they kept Austin Powers. For some reason. It was just too funny, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's also where they get the Sylvester cat from, because he's like Miss Dr. Evil's cat or something. I don't know, it doesn't even matter. It's just reference. It's a reference montage. A montage of footage of other movies with Looney Tunes characters spliced in.
That's really bad.
And we haven't even gotten to the game yet.
The game is the worst part of the movie.
So fucking long.
So long and
I heard other reviewers saying like the background references kind of just distract me from the game. But it's not even that the background references are that distracting. They're also blurry. You can't.
They're blurry and in the background and like there's barely any
It's just a crowd
movement.
made up of Warner Brothers characters.
It's not that those are distracting from the game.
It's that the game is so boring
that you would rather look at the background.
Look in the background.
We made a promise that if we find Speed Buggy, we would stop the movie.
We never found Speed Buggy.
So we kept looking for Speed Buggy so that we could stop the movie.
I mistaked the Flintstones car for Speed Buggy like 3 separate times. It was bad. Every time they did a big crowd shot, I was like, please, where's Speed Buggy?
Where
I don't
is it?
watch this anymore.
Where is it? But the mystery machine showed up.
The game's like an hour long, right?
It's oh my god, like it feels less.
Was the movie an hour and 41 minutes or an hour and 51 minutes?
It was an hour and 51 minutes. Like the last 40 minutes was the game. I feel.
By the time we hit the hour mark, I think we were in the game already.
And that's not even including like the 10-minute filler scene of them training to be better at basketball.
Yeah, we got like 3 small filler scenes of them training.
And then like they have
But it doesn't matter.
They have a scene at the halfway point where it's like the real message was to learn to be yourself, Looney Tunes. That's how you get back to being popular.
Doesn't matter if they learned the game, because the game plays by video game rules, which is just a way of saying they can do whatever they want and there's no rules. Well, Don Cheadle has a guy on his team that stops time and just does the Quicksilver scene whenever he wants. It's his Overwatch ult. That character was the most Overwatch looking of any of them. Absolutely. He was called Kronos and he was just like a basketball robot. If Lucio had been in that group, he would not have been out of place at all.
I was kind of hoping like when they did that, or like that Quicksilver scene, stop posting the Quicksilver scene!
I'm tired of seeing it!
On Discord, it's just, if I could save time in a bottle. On Twitter, it's just the scene, it's just
the one from Sonic?
I was in a Discord, and all the channels were just...
I think they can see though.
Okay, but like...
But yeah, no,
anyway, like, I at least thought like, oh, they're gonna do a fun thing where like, he's gonna move in slow, in hyperspeed, but then Roadrunner's also gonna be in hyperspeed?
Oh, that would have been so funny, but there are no funny Looney Tunes jokes in this movie.
No.
The Looney Tunes are so underutilized. If you've seen the original movie, remember how they win because at the end they realize they can use toon logic?
Yeah, like...
This one, LeBron wins at the end because he realizes he can just cheat.
Yeah.
Basically.
He can run out the clock.
Because the video game rules are just cheating.
Yeah.
They literally glitch out the kid's game program that the villain used to design the Monstars.
Yeah.
And somehow that also kills the villain, even though he's not a part of that game. And if he is a part of that game, then so should the son who used the game to give himself powers to fight his dad in basketball. If all of this sounds like stupid nonsense, it is.
Yep.
It's not even fun nonsense, though. The game is like an hour long, and it's so uninteresting.
So boring.
Like, the game in Space Jam 1 is consistently entertaining.
Like, I didn't like watching it. I wasn't thinking to myself, wow, this is a masterpiece game. This is a masterpiece in how to tell. But it ends up being a masterpiece by comparison.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
the only defense I've seen of Warner Brothers Serververse movie is that the original Space Jam was also awful. The original Space Jam is a masterpiece
compared to
this movie.
Like, no one is not saying that Space Jam 1 wasn't good.
Nobody's
wasn't
saying
bad.
that movie was like
But it's
art.
But it's a million times more fun, interesting, and entertaining than this piece of shit.
The only good jokes I can think of in this movie are Daffy as Superman, the halftime scene where they're like, "Oh my God, Michael Jordan's here, guys! Michael Jordan!" And then it's Michael B. Jordan,
and he gives a really awkward speech where he's
then just kind of goes back out to.
And then the scene where Don Cheadle's about to sit down in a chair and then falls on his ass.
There's also a bit where Wile E. Coyote accidentally launches a bunch of versions himself out of a cannon. And
what have I done? And it's like,
but only 2 of those jokes are Looney Tunes jokes.
And like the ones that actually made us laugh were the ones that were accidents.
Oh yeah, the Don Cheadle falling because his character sits down and there's no chair was so clearly not. It was the only thing that didn't feel even a little bit artificial.
They were setting up that shot, and then like Don Cheadle didn't realize there wasn't a chair,
and he just sat and missed, and they kept it because it was funny.
Oh, it's funny because he fell on his ass. Let's put that in the movie.
And it was funny.
They weren't wrong. It was the only fun. It was like one of the
funny than most
jokes.
of what they came up with. Do not watch Space Jam 2. Just watch the reference clips.
Just watch
the funny reference
Better
clips.
yet, watch Looney Tunes Back in Action.
We didn't watch that one for the podcast,
but it's based.
We've both already seen it, and we both already know it's based. It's got Brendan Fraser. It's an actual Looney Tunes movie. It's got Steve Martin as the villain too,
which is hilarious.
Yeah, watch that. Watch Space Jam. Don't watch Space Jam 2. We had to watch episodes of the 2010 Looney Tunes show
to remind us that the Looney Tunes can be funny.
Yeah.
Which also just watch the Looney Tunes show.
Watch the 2010 Looney Tunes show. It's good. People don't like it because it's less slapsticky, but it's so funny.
Yeah, it's so great. Oh my god. Watch that and not Space Jam 2. Alright.
We're done talking about Space Jam now. Now for the rest of the Fear podcast that you'll see later. I almost just tripped over something. Goodbye.